That nobody saw coming. Hewlett-Packard planning to split to break off its legacy PC and printer business from its faster-growing corporate hardware and services operations. This is, of course, still according to a person with knowledge of the matter. It is, though, exactly what Bill George has been saying HP should do for years. He is a Harvard Business School management professor and former chairman of Medtronic. He joins us now live on the phone from Boston. Good morning, Professor. Thank you so much for joining us here on Surveillance. So you've been calling for this for years. What did you see that Meg Whitman did not?
Well, these are two separate businesses. It's basically a hardware business, which is a low-cost business where they've struggled to compete. HP's never been a low-cost company, and they need to split it off and run it that way and run it for cash and see if they can regain some share. They're struggling with Lenovo and others in the marketplace. On the other hand, I think Meg's focus has always been on building enterprise systems and the services businesses, which fit together as a neat package. Both of them are about $55 billion. Both have been declining in revenues, and I think this gives an opportunity for her to focus on the business where she's strongest, which is software and services businesses. And I do applaud her for doing this. I have to say that 2 years ago when I recommended this in a New York Times article, the company was really down on the bottom, and she's restored it a lot, got a lot of focus, taken out another 30 to 50,000 employees, but more importantly, restored the confidence of the market in an organization been very poorly governed. And I think now they've thought this through carefully and understand where they are, and the stock has tripled in the last 2 years, so that certainly rebuilt the confidence of shareholders.
And this is something, of course, we should point out that Whitman's predecessor also wanted to see happen, splitting off the PC and legacy printer business. For 2 years, though, Whitman has been digging in her heels, saying that doing this would lose purchasing power for the combined companies. Is that still the case, or what changed?
No, I think the purchasing patterns are very different. The main purchasing is going back and forth between the hardware side of HP and the system side, and that can be easily resolved with purchase orders, long-term purchase agreements between the two companies. So I don't think that's a big problem. I think what it changed is the confidence that they're now back on their feet and they have a reasonable market cap. They were on the bottom before. You recall their market cap was down around $24 billion. Today it's back up at 66. So, and I think I'm just saying the early indications are it'll probably go up another 6% to open this morning. So the market likes it, and this is what I think the market has wanted. So she's more confident, and the board is too. And I think that stabilization has been critical to give them credibility in the marketplace. They had none 2 years ago.
Bill, I wonder if you can sort of help shine a light on a certain irony, and that is that M&A volume is up to the highest we've seen ever. And yet you've got two bringing companies together, therefore. And here we got two deals in 2 weeks, eBay and now Hewlett effectively splitting up. What do you make of that irony?
Well, there's a lot of pressure from the activists to split up, and as you know, eBay was under a lot of pressure earlier this year. I frankly was surprised about the eBay situation. I'm not sure why they're doing this, and I'm not sure how strong the two remaining companies are to compete with people like Amazon and Google and certainly Alibaba. And so I found that somewhat perplexing that they made that change. And they were not under immediate pressure at this time. Carl, kind of pretty much gone away. But I think there's M&A deals, the rethinking. I applaud that. I think this idea that your portfolio makes sense. And here, back to HP, you got two companies of $55 billion each. That's plenty big enough to have a very strong company. In fact, I think the old company, or as it exists today, is just too big to manage. And as I say, Meg's done a good job stabilizing, but it's just too big.
Bill, Meg Whitman is going to stay on. She's going to become the CEO of the new enterprise businesses. She's also, though, going to controversially stay as chair of the legacy printer and PC business. Do you feel that she can lead effectively in both roles?
Actually, I thought that. I was surprised at that, and I think it's a mistake. They're trying to show that two companies are still one. I hope that wouldn't last long. I don't agree with that. I think you should split them. You should have a completely different board governance. I was on the board once of a 3M spinoff 15 years ago, and it only works because you get totally independent board on the hardware company. There's no need to have the overlapping boards, and I think they should find a strong outside chair for the hardware company.
All right, Bill, we're going to have to leave it there. Bill George, professor of management and practice at Harvard University. Thanks so much for joining us.